Perhaps you want to join the United States Army, but you don't want to be infantry. You don't want to do a lot of those high physically demanding types of jobs. You want something nice and cushy, like a desk job. What's up, my friends? U.S. Army veteran Christopher Chaos, and maybe you want to join the United States Army, but you want to work in an office. You don't want to do that hardcore stuff. You just want to simply be behind a desk, working in an office, not getting dirty, whatever. There are some desk jobs, we'll say, in the United States Army that, yeah, sure, they're not quite as intense as like being infantry, being certain other MOSs that are, have to get dirty all the time and have to really require a lot of physical labor. These jobs typically work more in an office environment than anything else. So here are 5 desk jobs that potentially you might be able to join as. There are other MOSs or other jobs in the United States Army that kind of fall in this category, but these are 5 that I figured I'd kind of highlight to kind of get you started with thinking about potential jobs if you're looking for that kind of a thing, or maybe you're just curious about it. So let's roll into some of these. This first one is a 36 Bravo, which is a financial management technician. This is an enlisted MOS. It's available for like active duty soldiers, reserves, National Guard, and is what these individuals do is work a lot with budgets. So these individuals might be doing things, as an example, like maybe we have to fund for some construction on base. So these people are working with the finance department to make sure we have the funds to cover these expenses and then allocate them and proper manage, the funds, so that way we don't, spend more than we're supposed to be spending in that specific fiscal year and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of budgeting types of things. These aren't the same individuals that work with like pay for soldiers or anything else like that. This is more of like a little bit bigger picture. So more of like the budget for us to be able to allocate money maybe to a unit so that they can have these funds to do training, to do, send soldiers to schools or whatever, and then funds for upgrades on post and a lot of that kind of a thing. Obviously, you would probably need to be fairly decent at math. I would imagine this probably wouldn't be a MOS for you if you suck at math. I would not probably recommend this. So, a good kind of accounting type of job, you're probably gonna be working in an office the 99% of the time, most likely. I mean, there probably is still some field time that they kind of do to do certain activities and do certain kind of, training events. So there is potential that you're not gonna, just be stuck in the office all the time. You're probably gonna get outside at some points in time, but definitely when you compare it to a lot of other jobs in the Army, it's probably one that spends a very, very good portion of their career inside of an office kind of environment, behind a desk, working behind a computer probably, and not necessarily out in the field getting dirty. This MOS would possibly still deploy, right? I mean, you probably have kind of environments where you have to go on these deployments to make sure that the funds for, certain things that are happening during that deployment gets allocated properly. I could see this job being a one that you probably could still do that from the rear, but possibly they want you there for certain purposes. So I wouldn't say that really any MOS, on this list, or possibly any MOS in general, is safe from deployment. There's still possibilities with any MOS for deployments. Let's get into the second one, and that is a 42 Alpha, which is a human resources specialist. For those people already in the Army, this is commonly your individuals you have in S1. And those of you that are not familiar with the Army, these are the people that kind of like fix pay issues. They take care of like your leave. So when you want to go on vacation, they take care of the forms and file them properly. When you're trying to get promoted, they do all the promotion stuff. When you're trying to process awards for a soldier, they're the ones doing the processing for awards. So a lot of that human resources types of things you would have like in a civilian thing, but for the military. So again, these individuals are working inside of an office environment, behind a desk, behind a computer, to do those kind of jobs, to be able to make sure soldiers are taken care of for pay, for any kind of questions that they may have about, awards or promotions or whatever kind of a thing. So they work in that S1 office, as it's normally kind of referred to, working with these types of environments. Sometimes people hate these people in the Army, right? The key thing usually with it is, they're trying to, fix their pay, and it always seems like S1 isn't open when you need them to be open, or they have some kind of crazy requirements that you have to have an NCO with you to go there. So sometimes people don't like these individuals in the Army, but these can be individuals to make friends with, right? Maybe they accidentally lose your leave paperwork and you didn't get charged for that vacation you took. I'm just saying. I mean, that's not a legit thing. I mean, you can get in trouble for that, but hey, if it happens, it happens, right? So far, that's 2 pretty good office jobs, but before we get into the other 3, there's also a key thing you need to understand about these office jobs. Just because it's an office job does not get you out of every single thing, right? You still have to pass that physical fitness test. You still have to do weapons qualification. You still have to do some basic soldiering. So you still have to attend basic training. Sometimes people think of like, oh, there's these office jobs you can get in the Army, and I've got like this bad back, I've got a bad knee or whatever, I can't run, but if I get an office job, then it'll be okay. That's not the case. You still have the minimum requirements of being in the United States Army that every soldier has to meet, that you have to meet as well. It doesn't matter if you are sitting behind a desk 24/7 or if you're out there in the dirt and in the mud with a rifle. Same requirements as far as physical fitness and your weapons qualification and attending some kind of initial training, whether that's basic training or one station unit training, otherwise known as OSIT. Now, of course, to make sure you're covered for all aspects of the United States Army, you need to be subscribed. You need to hit that subscribe button down below. You need to click on that bell and make sure you have it selected for all notifications. That way you can be a part of that notification platoon and get alerts when new videos go live, to include the live streams, and you won't miss a single thing, and you'll be squared away whether you want to join the Army or you're currently in the Army or you're a veteran that just wants to keep up what's going on. Now, let's get into some more office jobs. Next up is the third one that I've got, which is a 27 Delta, which is a Paralegal Specialist. If you're familiar with what a paralegal does on the civilian side, well, it's very similar on the military side, just for the military, for the Army in this case. So they're gonna assist with like prosecutors, right? Doing some kind of prep work for the trial. You know, when you have incidents where like a soldier has to do like a court martial, has to do some kind of trial or something else along those types of lines. So they're assisting those prosecutors, assisting with judges, all that kind of thing like a paralegal would do. They also would be the individuals, like if you want to do like a will, you want to do a power of attorney, some kind of legal things that you want to be able to do to file into the system with the United States Army. These paralegals in this MOS in the Army help you out to take care of that, whether it's you or even your spouse and you're married in the Army. I don't know if some of you think out there that a paralegal is like a lawyer. That's not what this is. That's a different type of job in the military, but these would be like more of the office assistants, the individuals to help prepare for those kind of situations. Sometimes they are doing some of the interviewing process for like a witness and everything, for a trial coming up, a court martial coming up. So they have a office type of style job. These individuals quite possibly wear their dress uniforms more often than a lot of other individuals do, because commonly when you go to like these court martials, these trials, that's usually the uniform they have to wear is the dress uniform. So that would probably be a key thing to expect if you were looking to get into this job, into this MOS, is that you would probably be wearing your dress uniform. Not like all the time, but probably more often than a lot of other soldiers do. And I can definitely see it with like the intention of like the pinks and greens, that when it gets to the point of I think what the goal of the pinks and greens are, to be more of like a office kind of suit type of thing. So for individuals that work in an office, some of these MOSs could end up individuals that wear pinks and greens quite often type of thing. The fourth one I have on this list is a 92 Alpha, which is Automated Logistical Specialist. For those of you in the Army, you probably know them as the people that work in PLL, right? They are the people in the motor pool that will do things like the paperwork for dispatches for vehicles, because when you have vehicles, you know, in your unit, in your section, and before they're allowed to leave the motor pool, which is where they're stored at, where they're staged at, you have to have a dispatch. So that usually means that you have checked out the vehicle, mechanics have checked out the vehicle, the commander has approved that this vehicle is safe to be outside the motor pool and out on the roads. And so when all of that has been done, these individuals are working inside of an office, usually in the motor pool, and process those dispatches. This is just one example of some of the things they do. These people also work a little bit with like ordering parts. So if there are parts for your vehicles that need to be ordered, they kind of handle that. So these individuals do spend a lot of time in the office, but there are moments when they're gonna get out of the office because they have to go down to another location where all these parts are stored at, and maybe they go with someone else from another section to haul it inside a vehicle. Commonly, I would see units with like 88 mics, right? My old MOS, where an 88 mic would go with one of them to pick up the parts, load it into one of the 88 mics vehicles, but they'd be riding with them, take it back somewhere to drop it off. Or there has been times where I've seen where they have their own vehicles and they'll just kind of do it internally. These are also the individuals that are like maintaining records for like the maintenance of vehicles, to make sure that the maintenance is being done on time when they're supposed to get services done on these vehicles. They will probably manage like the licenses, because yes, you usually do have to get what's called a military license when you're in the Army to be able to drive these trucks. You'll have usually somebody who's certified to like certify you on driving the truck, and then once they have certified you on that, then these individuals can process your license. It's really just a printout paper. I actually have mine still back here somewhere on my little shelf, but it's just a printout document off of a computer that shows the model numbers of the different vehicles that you have been licensed on, and then it's signed off by the commander or something, and it's got your name, your information inside of there. So they're also the ones that usually process those licenses. It's nothing fancy like a driver's license or anything. It's just a paper printout that says your name and your info and what vehicles you can drive. Before we get into the very last one, the fifth one, I have the question of the day that I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section down below. What is a desk job that you would love to do? Whether it's a real job that you know exists in the Army, or one that you think would be cool if it existed, or maybe you think could exist in the Army, but you would enjoy doing. I know there's probably some of you that would not want to do a desk job. You'd rather do the infantry stuff, you'd rather do the engineer stuff, whatever, right? But let's say that those things were not available to you and you had to do a desk job, you had to join in one of these desk jobs, even if it's not a real desk job. What would you want to do? For me, I didn't know it until later in my Army career, but television and radio actually is a job, and it's probably a lot of a desk job. I mean, especially like if you get more on the radio side, you're working inside of a radio station to do, you know, like it's called AFN radio, and you'll do that like overseas in Germany or Korea or whatever. And that's kind of a desk job. That would be pretty cool. And there's gonna be a little bit of field time because sometimes you have to do interviews, or if you're doing more of the video side of things, you might have to do some kind of reporting, but that would be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind doing that. Now, this fifth and last one that I have on here is not actually an MOS you can actually join. There's actually some requirements, and it's gonna require you to already be in the Army and probably been in the Army for a little while, because you have to either be a sergeant or a staff sergeant to qualify for this MOS. So it's not something you can just join the Army as, but it is something that would be a desk job. That is a 79 Sierra, which is an Army career counselor. So is what these individuals do is they are basically your Army recruiters for soldiers that are already in the Army. So what does that mean? That means that the job of this individual is to specifically try to retain soldiers. So when a soldier has about usually like a year left on their contract, let's say they did a 4-year contract and they've already served 3 of those years, now they're eligible to re-enlist or renew their contract to stay on longer. The job of these career counselors is to kind of go over options that they have, try to convince them to stay in the Army longer, try to waive some bonuses in front of them, choice of duty station, all sorts of fun stuff, and try to get them to stay in the United States Army. These are the individuals you'd go to when you are, willingly wanting to stay in the Army, and you want to talk to them about the options you have, where you want to get stationed, what kind of bonuses, maybe you want to reclass, and you find out from these individuals if that is even an option for you to be able to reclass, because it's still based on your ASVAB score and availability, but these are the people you talk to. Like I said though, you have to be a sergeant or a staff sergeant to even be eligible, so it's not something you just join the Army as, but also you have to be on your 2nd or more tour of duty type of thing, so you have to be at least on your 2nd contract, 3rd contract, whatever. You can't be like you're on your 1st contract. So as an example, you're a high-speed fast tracker, maybe you came in the Army as an E4, quickly make E5 in 2 years, you're still on that very 1st contract, you're not eligible on that for at least until you get to your 2nd contract or more. There's also like several other requirements. I think I saw in there that you also have to have a high school diploma, of course, which you usually have to have that to join the Army anyways, or at least a GED. But I believe I've also seen that you have to have at least 1 year of college, so you have to have at least a little bit of college in there. There are a few other things like GT scores. You can't have any kind of negative history, like you get in Article 15s and certain other requirements. So it's not something that's, gonna be for everybody, not something available for everybody, and you also have to be in the Army for a little while to be able to qualify for it. But if that's something you want to do, that's probably a pretty good desk job. You're gonna be behind a desk. I mean, you might go out to the field environment, but not really do a field job, but sometimes you'll go out to the field to maybe talk to soldiers, to get them to re-enlist while they're on the field, to try to still bug them. It's like they got chased down to talk to them about their extended warranty running up. Well, they chased them down and tell them about your Army contract about to run out, so how about you stay in the Army longer? So that's what their job is for the career counselors. So that was 5 desk jobs, or I'll say desk jobs because, like I said, there's still potential for you to go to the field, still potential for you to go to deployments. You still have to do physical fitness tests, you still have to do weapons qualification, but you are probably gonna spend the majority of your career in an office type of environment behind a desk. So now that you have a good understanding as far as just some desk jobs potentially available in the Army, maybe you wanna know about some of the worst MOSs, some of the best MOSs. Good news, I have videos on that, so check those out. I got them up on screen right now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, click on the thumbs up, check out links down below for social media, join the Discord, hit me up on Instagram, all that fun stuff. Thanks for hanging out. I'm Christopher Chaos. I'll see you next time. See ya.